Hello, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're joining me. I know it's been a while, but I'm so thankful that you're joining me today. I'm going to take a dig into the trial of Darrell Brooks, who plowed into the Waukesha Christmas parade on November 21st of last year. He appears to be a textbook narcissist, and he's confirmed that he's a sovereign citizen. You know, those pathologies are bad enough on their own, but Brooks showed us how combustible they are when they're combined. He's not alone, though. I believe that narcissism is a pathology of many sovereign citizens. Anyway, he was convicted October 26th of this year of 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, 61 counts of recklessly endangering safety, 6 counts of hit and run causing death, and 2 counts of bail jumping. And he was also convicted of 1 count of misdemeanor battery. He faces 6 life sentences and then some. And for reasons that baffle my mind, he treated the judge who's going to sentence him like she was a piece of gum on the bottom of his shoe.
I don't have a problem with doing what you asked me to do, not tell me. Just like when I asked you about subject matter jurisdiction that you have yet to prove on the record. But somehow I'm being intentionally disruptive. Come on, man. Stop. Just stop it.
Brooks creates conflict in order to gain an illusion of control. But he was only fooling himself. He was constantly scanning the courtroom environment for opportunities to respond and create the chaos he wanted to create. He would work himself into a space so filled with anger and resentment that there was no space for anything or anyone else. He simply lost control.
The lead to Erica Patterson being a bad mom, Mr. Brooks has a direct role in that causation.
And that's
Furthermore,
I'll object to that.
I'm not
because that's a lie.
Let him
Because at
finish.
the end of the day,
Let him finish,
if we gonna open the door
Mr.
on that, no,
Brooks.
since he want to make a record and not be accurate, so let's be accurate all on the record. Since you think you know so much,
Once
so
again,
we can
Mr.
open the
Brooks
door
is
on.
being
We can
loud,
open the door on how old she told me she was when we met.
interrupting.
We can ask that question
he is
too. Then
over the
Did you
top
ask that?
animated
Do you
right
know
now.
that?
Mr. Brooks, I'm ordering you to sit down and to let the state
No,
finish.
no, I'm not going to sit here and let somebody be inaccurate on the record and lie on the record.
Right. Under Illinois versus Allen, I've warned him repeatedly. He's being removed from the courtroom. And you know what? Let me dial that back. We're just going to take an early lunch, 1 hour. We'll be back. And unless he brings that letter and he can show it is inadmissible, she will not be questioned. And under 906.11, I will declare the cross-examination closed. Thank you. We're in recess. 1 hour.
Get your facts straight. So let's open the door on all of it then, so we can get all of it on the record. Since you think you know so much.
Out, we should probably discuss that. I would like to provide the defendant and the court with a copy.
So that had to be said. So it's the defendant.
That's not how it was said.
That was how I said. You want to run the record back?
Mr. Brooks.
So I'm the only one. I got one. I
Mr.
got one
Brooks.
ear that work, and I heard that.
This
Come on,
is
man.
to benefit you so
No,
that
it's
you
not.
understand
Ain't none of
your
this to benefit
witness
me, so let's be
has
clear
a
about
prior
that.
record.
Your Honor, when I leave the table, I'm away from the courtroom and I have to elevate my voice. This is the
So she had to
alleged
elevate her
record of
voice
Abel
just for
Lescott.
that.
Stop talking.
Come on, man. Like, I don't know who y'all be thinking y'all fooling. I accept the value in return for value this document.
One more interruption and you're going to be removed to the next courtroom.
That's what you want to do anyway.
It's not what I want to do. Do not interrupt Attorney Opper.
So can
Your
you
Honor,
tell,
I
can
believe
you
he
explain?
has 7 prior criminal convictions via OWI 2nd from 1997, and OWI 3rd from 1997, and OWI 4th from 2003, criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
All right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared.
So what I see here is a guy who seems to suffer from at least oppositional defiant disorder and narcissism. He attempted to control and direct that entire trial, and it gave him a sense of power. He used words as weapons to distract, deflect, distress, and attack. And that attempting to focus all his power into that menacing glare, it's just another intimidation tactic. He's never learned. All the times he's been in trouble have never taught him that he has other options. He's never connected his behaviors to his consequences. This moment in his life was his last stand. He was saying to the court, I'll be damned if I let you hold me accountable or responsible. I'll be damned if I let you pull back the curtain of all of the illusions I have created about myself. I'll be damned if I allow you to remove the persona I have created. And you know, the truth is, we're all pretty much all the mistakes we've ever made stitched together with good intentions. But you learn. You know, mistakes can be the most powerful teaching moments of our lives because they teach us so much about ourselves. It's just so tragic because it didn't have to be this way. You know, if he had ever explored any of the other options that he had, like rage is one way to go, I guess. It doesn't solve anything. It doesn't make anything better. It just creates more chaos in your life. And he knew he had problems, but he refused to take his medication to control them. Any other options that he could have possibly chosen, and those people would quite possibly still be alive.
Question to you. Do you have any requests as it relates to the jury instructions?
I just told you, am I muted? I just told you, I don't know how many times, I can't hear everything you say.
Then you should put the headphones
What about that
on.
don't you understand? What about that don't you understand? Do you see headphones? You can see everything. You can see boxes, but do you see headphones?
Have you asked for headphones to be provided, sir?
I should have to ask for them. I didn't ask for my boxes to be moved.
I believe they took them away previously because you were so agitated. They were perhaps afraid you might break
Yeah,
them.
I'm still agitated. I ain't gonna stop being agitated. That ain't gonna stop. You sit up here and do everything you're doing and think you.
Brooks displayed so many of these temper tantrums, displays of rage for the smallest things when you look at them in context. He suffered real blows to his ego when he was being told he wouldn't be given exception to the rule or be granted special treatment. Or even when the judge simply had the expectation and requirement that he should follow her rules. And he got even angrier when his behavior didn't stop the trial. His reactions were unreasonable, disproportionate, and really aggressive, all because his wants and wishes weren't being catered to.
You should be informed that you have the power to nullify any law that you don't agree with.
Objection, move to strike the statement.
Sustained.
Objection.
I will strike from the record the last statement made by the defendant. The jury will disregard it.
Which is clearly what I've been saying. I believe that not only is it fair, but it's essential that you be privy to all knowledge, not knowledge that certain people feel that you should hear and shouldn't hear.
So he's suggesting to the jury that there was some conspiracy that the courts were covering up and that vital information was being withheld from them. As a result, he did kind of the unthinkable. He suggested to the jury that nullification was a tool for them to utilize. They could just let him go. But even then, he gave them no reason to do it. He gave no theory for it. He just suggested that, if they didn't like the charge of murder, they could just let him go. It makes no sense. So, jury nullification takes place when jurors acquit a defendant who is factually guilty because they disagree with the law as written. For example, during the Prohibition, juries who disagreed with alcohol control laws often acquitted defendants who had been caught red-handed smuggling alcohol. It also occurs when a jury convicts a defendant because it condemns the defendant or his actions, even though the evidence at trial showed that he technically didn't break any law. For example, all white juries in the post-Civil War South routinely convicted black defendants accused of sex crimes against white women, despite minimal to no evidence of guilt. These days, jury nullification is most common in drug cases, where some jurors refuse to convict on drug possession charges, either because they believe in legalization or feel that the drug laws discriminate against certain groups. A jury's verdict only decides the particular case before the court in that trial. It doesn't change the law. But a consistent pattern of acquittals for prosecutions of a certain offense can have the practical effect of invalidating a statute. In fact, the patterns of jury nullification in alcohol prosecutions contributed to the adoption of the 21st Amendment, which repealed prohibitions. And jury nullification has happened, since the beginning of the trial system, and it persists because of a number of idiosyncrasies in the legal system that are designed to protect the integrity of jury process. The law limits the court's ability to inquire into jurors' motivations during or after a verdict. And they can't be punished for their verdict, even if it was reached improperly. In addition, someone acquitted because of jury nullification can't be tried again for the same crime because of the prohibition against double jeopardy. On the other hand, though, a conviction reached via nullification can be overturned on appeal or voided by a judge in some jurisdictions.
Now shown it to you. You want me to, tell you all these things.
No.
Hold on. But what I told you from the start, and I did tell you this, is that part of it's a give and take. There's things I'll tell you, but I can't just tell you everything. We've shown you pictures, all right? We talked about if the roles were reversed, what you'd want my partner, Ben,
Yes.
to do.
Yeah, you did say that.
We talked about that. What would you want it to do if it was your kid with the broken leg? And look,
So a
I
kid
want
got
to
hurt?
believe a lot of people did.
A lot of people got hurt.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Darrell, you were there.
No, I'm saying a lot of people got hurt.
Yeah, there's people hurt, man.
Like that?
Broken legs and stuff like I told you. Concussions, hit their head.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that happen to nobody, dude.
I don't believe you would either.
Yeah, but you
And I'm
just
not saying it's on purpose.
you just thought, yo, this dude is heartless.
So tell us otherwise.
You know
I
what I'm
didn't say that.
saying?
I'm
It's
asking
like,
you,
fuck,
what
man,
do you
like-
want it to be perceived as?
Tell us how it is then. If we're wrong and it's not heartless, tell us what it was.
I'm here to listen if it's something different. I'm sitting here. I haven't walked out.
Come on, Hart. Come on, y'all know. Listen, man. Y'all know. If I did not talk to that woman, I would have never, ever be sitting right here talking to y'all right now.
If I did not talk to that woman, yeah, I believe that he believes that. But that woman was not responsible for his rage, anger, and aggression. She was a victim of it. He took all of those things out on her. He probably groomed this child and then used her all of her adult life to feed off of. He used her as an excuse for his horrible behavior. He threw her under the bus for his inability to control himself. He showed the world, the court, and the jury that he is not able to control himself for the smallest things. He showed us that when Darrell Brooks gets mad, everyone deserves to suffer.
Leave that.
You didn't have to put the picture down. You didn't have to.
The stroller.
That's a stroller.
Yeah.
So a kid got hurt.
Yeah.
A kid.
Yeah.
Bad. You said a lot of people got hurt.
Checked out, yeah.
A lot of people got hurt.
To me, it's a pretty good injury if a doctor's got to check you out or you got a broken leg.
Yeah, so what do you call my shoulder?
This was after a long night of playing games with detectives to attempt to determine what they knew about what he had done. This was after they told him that people had been hurt. Hurt bad, he asked? A child was hurt bad? He was praying all night that they were just trying to get him for assault on Erica. In his childish mind, he didn't think there would be any evidence. And when given the proof of hurting a child, he immediately jumps to this impaired empathy, self-centered, what about me refrain, and then he laughs.
What to think?
I mean, it's nothing I can have them think because y'all already basically said, okay, this is what happened. We just want you to tell us that this is what happened so we can just charge you with this, which we're going to charge you with.
Are you the good guy that screwed up or the evil guy that doesn't care?
Oh, I definitely care. I
Okay, tell me
definitely
the truth.
care. I definitely care.
If
Why
you
would you try to
definitely
spin it
care.
like that? Just because I don't want to tell you something. Now I don't care. Now I'm the malicious guy. Now I'm this, now I'm that. Just because I don't want to talk.
One other option, you know the truth. We've been talking for a couple
Y'all
of
apparently know the truth too.
I told
Apparently.
you when we came in, it was to get
Man,
your
you knew this
perspective and
last
your side.
night. Come on, Kurt. You knew this last night, man.
This was,
You
I told
knew
you
this
that. We
last
just came
night.
out. Yes, I told you.
Yeah, you knew it last night as well, Darrell. This guy lied to the police all night long, but boy, was he pissed when he discovered that he had been lied to. And then he used the truth of what he had done as leverage to get them to tell him what the charges would be.
And you could have been like, yo, some people got hurt. We want to know what happened, man.
I didn't know enough details last night. There were people out there all night, processing a scene, the entire night, until about, I don't know, noon today.
Come on, man. Y'all knew,
About noon today.
y'all knew all this, man.
I didn't know everything. I'm telling you, you can believe me if you want, but I got no reason to lie. It was complete
I'm
chaos.
not saying, listen, I'm not saying you're lying.
It was complete chaos.
I'm not saying you're lying.
So that's what took so long.
I'm not.
But you know how it got to be that way. So tell us how it got to be
I
that
can't
way.
even get a word in.
Because we're going round and around and around,
Well,
Darrell.
we're just going to keep going around and around here.
And you're acting like you don't.
I mean,
Almost
it's
acting like you don't know what these are, and you do.
No, you making it seem like I don't care. Like I'm just this heartless type of person, dude.
Well, it
I
feels
couldn't
that
even,
way.
okay, that's fine, but look at my position. I've been in here for 24 hours. I haven't even gotten a shower, good sleep. My shoulder's fucked up. I haven't even got a phone call to even notify anybody, talk to my family whatsoever, not one time.
I'm disappointed, Darrell.
I'm disappointed too because you lied to me, Kurt.
See how his tune and tone changes here? How defensive he becomes. How he starts playing with words to deflect what the detective is saying. See how after he's made aware that he's hurt a lot of people, he becomes defensive about the treatment he is receiving. See how he treats them as if he is owed the truth?
She's been laughing and making comments under her breath the whole time during the whole trial, and I never said nothing. I don't know what's being said, but I can tell that it's directed towards me. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, you don't know it's being directed toward you, and you pretty much are an idiot. let me get this straight. Brooks could be belligerent, abusive, and a downright jerk, but no one is allowed to react to that. Okay. How about that paranoia, though? Everything, just everything, is about him.
I haven't made any of those observations,
I didn't
sir.
say
What
you.
I've observed,
I didn't say you, Your Honor.
No.
But
What I've observed is
listen, please.
Go ahead.
For her to sit there and try to play it off as if she's not referencing to me, she must think I'm an idiot.
Nobody
That is
said
very
sir.
disrespectful to me. I haven't said anything about that until today. She's done it numerous times.
What are you talking about? I don't know
Her
what you're
laughing
saying.
under her breath. Her trying to cover up the microphone so they can laugh and hee and key. That they've been doing that the whole time. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything about it.
I have not noticed that. What I notice are 3 attorneys who cover up the microphone so that they're not heard when they're conferring with each other about evidentiary issues or about testimony.
So why is it always laughing and giggling?
I
involved
haven't
with
noticed that other than
It might be because they're co-workers and are communicating with each other like co-workers do. Or it might very well be because you are so extreme and over the top that the only appropriate reaction would be to laugh. No one will hold that against them, Darrell.
the one thing you pointed out.
Well, we
today,
have
that-
cameras. That's what the
Mr.
cameras are
Brooks,
for.
let's
Yeah, stop the trial and roll back the video because people are reacting to his belligerent, abusive antics in a less than positive light. He wants proof. How dare they? He deserves the special treatment. The nerve of some people, I tell you.
refocus our attention on what we're here for, and that's
Okay,
this
then
trial.
I'll take that
And
as.
do you have
I
anything you
take
want to
that
put on
as-
the record?
I'm putting it on the record
As
if I
it
get a
re-
chance.
No, you need to let me finish. As it relates to the video and my decision to admit it.
She just admitted that she just now came with the exhibit. It was not that she just said. She just made it an exhibit. It
That
was
doesn't
not
mean
an
it wasn't
exhibit
turned
before she
over
made
to
it
you.
one.
So do you have some legal basis, sir, for your position? Because I'm not
What do
aware
I
of any.
need legal basis for when she just admitted on the record that she just made this exhibit up
No,
right
she
now?
didn't. That is a complete mischaracterization. Sure, she did not.
That's what. So she wasn't
Create
implying that by saying
exhibit.
that she can
She did
pull
not make
anything
it up.
out of her suitcase.
So that's a figure of speech.
Okay, so what is
All right.
it implying to? What would that be implying to?
As
How would
attorney-
anyone?
All right,
How would
I'm
anyone in
moving
my
on
position?
because you're not providing
How
me
would-
with any
how would
legal
any-
basis.
I didn't even
for
finish.
me to.
You told me that I can make the record.
The judge explained to Darrell that he would not understand the legal process if he chose to represent himself. She told him he would not understand the legal basis required for objections and rulings or any of it. He chose to do it regardless. She even lent him one of her law books that he obviously never opened. And during the trial, she did try to educate him, but he chose to be uneducatable. She attempted to explain to him here that he opened the door to his music video being shown to the jury by questioning the detective about it. And that just set him off. But every step of the way, he chose this opposite path. To not consent to anything, to not understand anything, to object to everything. And he's so transparent. It was clear to everyone but him that he was arguing from a crumbling position as a last resort to appear like he was in control. He was not in control, however.
You know, I got this beautiful kid who's going without my time. I thought I would just be this wonderful father, just be the greatest dad ever. You know, the vision is just like, I'm gonna give him everything that I didn't have. But then it's like reality set in. You actually become the drug, not even a human being.
basically. That's how I felt. Like I wasn't a human anymore. I was just something vile, disgusting, despicable. I could go on. I can use a lot of words, but that's what I became. It's really what I became.
Sovereign citizens are a growing problem in this country. A large soft-sit demographic was emboldened by the Trump presidency, at which time they coalesced with conspiracy theorists and COVID deniers and militia groups. They're a threat to our democracy, and they're becoming more assertive and in many cases more violent. Most new recruits to the sovereign citizen movement are people who have found themselves in a desperate situation and they're seeking for a quick fix. Often due to the economy or foreclosures, or like Brooks, they're facing legal trouble. Many were radicalized online. And I've got to admit that watching their interactions with police and court officials can be amusing when they're fighting traffic tickets, but when one of them uses these tactics at a murder trial, it feels unconscionable. They highlight in their interactions with police, county officials, the courts, and gosh, just grocery stores with, their own policies and procedures, that they're angry, entitled, bitter, and highly volatile. Now, there's a long and convoluted history of the sovereign citizen movement in this country, but for my purposes, I'll just say that in short, sovereign citizens believe that the U.S. citizen is a legal fiction that's been created by the federal government via the Social Security application and is a corporate employee of the United States by virtue of being a U.S. citizen. This artificial person alone is subject to the jurisdiction of the federal government and of the state government and subject to the corporate income tax. They call this person the straw man, not the real flesh and blood person. And according to the FBI, they're anti-government extremists. And they believe that even though they physically reside in this country, they're separate or sovereign from the United States, and they believe they aren't beholden to the government authorities, including courts, taxing entities, motor vehicle departments, or law enforcement. They are above the law in their own mind. They were at the January 6th insurrection, and in fact, a vote was organized by the state GOP from a Republican sovereign citizen group called the Sovereign Citizens Caucus of the great state of Arizona, which was behind an attempt to overturn the 2020 election vote through the use of forged election documents that they sent to the National Archive to be certified. And the documents even carried the state seal. But whatever the reason, this subculture of citizens who insist on representing themselves badly utilize every moment in front of authority figures to suck all of the air out of the room with word salad. For them, a traffic stop or a court date for a seatbelt violation, and now even a murder trial, is an opportunity to air their personal grievances with the government. They do not argue the facts of their case. What would be the fun in that when you can rattle on about admiralty law and gold fringe flags and third-party interveners and subject matter jurisdiction and I don't understand and who's my accuser because the state isn't a person? Why waste time with nuance when you could just object to everything? And I don't know why the police and judges give these people any leeway. You cannot engage in a battle of wits with an unarmed person. Their arguments are circular, and engaging with them only escalates their ire and their stupidity and the length of your interaction with them. And Brooks' case highlights the difficulty sovereign citizens can pose in the courtroom. He's got a level of savvy in his attempts to delay the court, but then suddenly he loses all knowledge. He would make a nuanced argument or correct the prosecution regarding something that was going on in the courtroom, and then feign that he didn't understand the same subject matter just moments later. It appeared he believed if he didn't consent to the proceedings, then they just wouldn't happen. He seemed pretty offended when the trial went on without his consent. And it's pretty clear that he's an opportunist. The way we know that Brooks is not really a sovereign citizen and that he's picked that crap up in jail over the last year is easy enough to suss out when you watch his interviews with the police. No self-respecting sovereign citizen would let an interaction with the police slip through their fingers without spewing and spewing and spewing meaningless words and phrases and demands. And Brooks stuck to the basic lifelong criminal word games with the detectives. You know, he attempted many tactics to stop the wheels of justice, but none of them worked. He will face the victims of his crime, and then he will be jailed for life. But his victims will never be made whole. You can't bring life and health back to people once you have taken it, ever. There is no doubt in my mind that Brooks probably suffers from a myriad of mental health issues. In my opinion, I saw a lot of oppositional defiant disorder coupled with a boatload of narcissistic antics and more. But the fact is, at any point in his life, he could have gotten the help he needed for his issues. There are quite a few places in Milwaukee that offer mental health services to people in Brooks' demographic with the very worthwhile goal of keeping them out of the system. I'm a full believer in the axiom, there comes a point when we need to stop just pulling people out of the river. We need to go upstream and find out why they're falling in. And I'm not suggesting that it's easy to heal from addictions or mental health issues or traumas we've experienced in our lives. I'm saying it's a battle, a heroic battle worth fighting over and over and over, as many times as it takes. And I know it's easy to fall back into old patterns and habits and practices. And it's almost an impossible battle to fight when you're incarcerated. Don't even get me started on the condition of inmates with mental health issues and how abysmally they're treated. But here in the outside world, we have the unique ability, we as humans, to screw up, wake up the next day with a gift for a fresh chance to start all over again. Brooks often used his mental illnesses when seeking sympathy and or leniency from judges. But there is no evidence that he ever took care of himself with the goal of mental health management in mind. And as a result, he has left so many victims in his wake, including his own teenage son, Xavier, who was charged with a felony for attempting to kill himself the day after his father's guilty verdict. Brooks can't go back and change any of it.